All right. So, hey, everyone. We want to welcome you to the release recap celebration. This session will go over what was released by Click and Pledge last year and also give you insights from nonprofit leaders. It looks like we do have current customers here. I'm seeing some brand new ones, and then I'm also seeing some who are evaluating Click and Pledge for their fundraising needs. Let me go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Rachel Briner, and I'm part of the marketing team here at Click and Pledge. I'm pleased to have Susan Higgs here as well. She is the director of the training team, and she is so fantastic at explaining Click and Pledge products. So she'll be showing off what was released last year and where to find them in Connect and Salesforce. We also have Amber Melanie Smith and Joanne Toller, and they will be talking about expert tips and advice on how to fundraise more effectively. They also have their own YouTube channels, which have their own dedicated audience, and they are very, very impressive individuals. So we're so excited to have them here. And also we have a few other team members here as well who are going to be monitoring the Q&A area. So if you have any questions, definitely feel free to send them our way. Lastly, I do want to mention that we are really, really happy that you are here. And as a token of our gratitude, we'll be giving each of you a $10 Amazon gift card if you're able to stay until the end. And we'll run a report with Zoom and whatever email that you use to register for this session, we'll send it off to that email. So give us a few days and look out for it in your inbox. So let's go over this agenda. We're going to finish up introductions, and then Susan's going to take it away with that release recap. We got the special guest presentations, and then finishing off with the Q&A. So to start off, I want to show you all the big releases that we had the past year. And when looking at this, it is pretty incredible what our development team has been able to accomplish. With all these additions, we wanted to make sure that you were in mind, and every single feature is available to you at no extra cost. The idea for this presentation is to give you the most direct information that we can so you're able to understand what each of these features do and also where to find them either in Connect or in Salesforce. So these releases include IntelliBooster, Pay Quickly, Givent, Recurring Updater, Amazon Pay, Got Ideas, Quantities, and then also updates to Click and Pay Suite. So that's going to be Patron Portal and MPSP. So before I pass it off to Susan, I do want to remind you that you need to be on the Stripe Gateway in order to have access to these features. And if you have any questions about that, just feel free to reach out to support@clickandpledge.com, and they'll be happy to guide you through that and answer any questions that you have. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and pass it off to Susan.
Thanks so much, Rachel. I am going to share my screen. And it is kind of, when we started preparing this, it is kind of impressive, all the things that happened last year. Kind of hard to believe. Okay, can you see my screen okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my video so my internet doesn't hate me. All right. So let's start off with IntelliBooster. So what is IntelliBooster? So what IntelliBooster does is it automatically boosts the donation amounts, and individual donor is offered based on that donor's past history of giving. So this feature was inspired by a customer explaining to us that they would manually look at a donor's past history and then determine what they should ask that specific donor for. So clearly that's quite a chore. So we set about designing this feature to make this not just easy, but automatic. So the way that it works is you create an IntelliBooster. You decide how much you wish to boost the amounts. You have the options of conservative, moderate, aggressive. You can see it in this screen with the booster model. You can set minimum and maximum amounts. And once you have that done, then you apply the IntelliBooster to any fundraising campaign that you want. So since a lot of you are current customers, this is going to be in the settings area of your account. Now, once you have that set up in your campaigns, now with some of your campaigns, you may want to use this, some you may not, and it's totally your choice. You can create multiple IntelliBoosters. So maybe, with Valentine's Day coming up, maybe you want to have a boost, a moderate boost for that. Maybe when Giving Tuesday rolls around, you want to aggressively boost amounts. That's absolutely your call. You get to use it exactly how you wish. Okay. The next feature we're going to discuss is Pay Quickly. Now, when I was working on this presentation, the thing that came to mind, and I'm sure most everyone here has heard the expression, if you don't ask, you don't get. I've certainly had that repeated to me many times throughout my life. And when I see this feature, that expression comes to mind. So let's take a look at it. So this is from our demo site. This is something that we use to kind of show off some of our features around here. You can see it's called Your Organization Name here, so you can kind of get an idea of what things look like. And if you look down in the bottom corner, you'll see this pulsating heart right here. So that is the icon that you can select and pull up your Pay Quickly form. So again, if you don't ask, you don't get. And there's very similar expressions out there that have similar meanings. I think my personal favorite one is from Nora Roberts. And she says, if you don't ask, the answer is always no. So Pay Quickly form is essentially your ask right in front of your donor. And maybe I should say right in the corner, because you can put it in the corners of your web page. You can also put it in the sides as well. And it's not hidden somewhere layered back in your website. It's again right front and center. And it also stays in place. It's what you would call sticky. So it really is remaining there waiting for your donor to act. The other cool thing about this form is it works with wallets. And so if your donor uses this with their payment wallet, that payment information is ready for them to use. There's no need for them to enter in anything besides their name and their email address. Hence, this is why we name the form Pay Quickly. It's easy to create. It's visually interesting. It's always visible to your donor. You can have one of these on each page of your website, and it allows your donor to pay quickly. It's so much good stuff in one tidy little package. So you know where this is located in your account when you log in. This is in your campaign and forms area, right there under your payment forms. And you can see in here, this is where you can customize the colors, you can select your icons, choose the placement on your website. So that is Pay Quickly. Now, this next feature, this is a really, really big feature. I think honestly, all of these features are huge features, but this is a really interesting one. And when I think of this particular feature, it reminds me of telethons. And I'm just going to ask the audience, I don't know, are y'all all old enough to remember telethons? Jerry Lewis was pretty famous. He ran a telethon for many decades, but it's essentially an event where people would call in and make their donations. So when I think of Givent, I think of those. And when you look at the name, it comes from the word give an event. So it's a Givent. So it's a fundraising event, but it's for modern times. without all the labor and things like that that need to be managed. So Givent works with Zoom, so you can accept donations during your meeting and your webinar. And when you're sharing your camera, you can see the donation scroll across the bottom of your screen. So I am going to launch Givent, and let's see. Give me just a second. Actually, Kate, is it possible for you to launch it? Let me, I can't hear you, Kate, if you are there.
I'm sorry. The full host has to do it.
Oh, I apologize. Okay, so let me see. Okay, well, I'm going to work on that a little bit later. Let me go ahead and resume and we'll try that out later. But let me continue on. Now with Givent, I think one of the other powerful things about this particular feature with Zoom is that it's not just something that you can use for your own organization. I think we've talked to a lot of organizations that are, they're planning to use it for their own giving events. But it really is something that you can tap into a new community, the business community. So if you are thinking about it, many companies have meetings through Zoom. And there are many reasons why companies want to partner with nonprofits. And so I've provided some of the reasons here. So, what if they have a meeting and they sponsor your nonprofit during it? That gives the attendees the ability to donate right within the meeting. So, that could be a really powerful way to partner with a company and increase new donors to your organization. So that is definitely something that you may want to consider adding, because it really is a great way to sort of expand your network of donors for your organization. Okay. Recurring updater. So recurring donations are wonderful. To know that you have individuals that care so much about your mission that they have committed to continuous support, that's a great thing. But here is what we've heard from some of our customers, that these recurring gifts can take a lot of staff time to manage. I remember one person telling me that she estimated that she spent a good part of one day each week just managing donors' requests to make changes to their recurring donations. So recurring updater gives the power to the donor to update their recurring gift themselves. They no longer need to contact you when they need to update their credit card or change their amount. They can do that all on their own. So what are some of the major customizations that you need to be aware of? First, you control what your donors can update. You have the option to let them update their credit card. Obviously, that's a big one. You can also have them update their name, email address, amount of their donation, cancel their donation. So you choose what the donor is able to do. Second, how you distribute this information to your donors. So generally what we have seen is that everyone has mostly put this as an option on their receipts. So in receipt templates, you add the recurring nodes. Nodes are basically the recurring language, like your next recurring donation will occur on March 5th. along with a link that allows the donor to update their donation. So every time they get the receipt for their donation, they have the option to update it right there on that receipt. Or if you prefer, you can do this on a one-on-one basis. All of the links are right within the transaction list. Maybe someone calls up, they want to update their donation, you can send them the link so they can update it themselves. Now, the third really big feature of this, when you turn Recurring Updater on, is you also have the option to automatically send a declined email when the credit card declines. And that email is the donor's unique link where they can update the credit card information. So it can be automated for you. So I really do love this feature. And I think one of the biggest things I like about it is it saves time. And time is really something that is absolutely priceless to all of us. Okay, moving on. Amazon Pay. We have added Amazon Pay as a payment option. Now, again, like Rachel mentioned at the beginning, if any of you all that are attending today have not switched to our new Gateway Stripe, then you don't have those alternative payment methods available like Apple Pay, Google Pay, etc. So we do ask you to go ahead and make that switch so your donors do have the additional options. I know that's something we heard very loud and clear from people, that this was very important to add payment methods like Apple Pay. So make sure that you are taking advantage of that. Okay, next thing, got ideas. So both within Click and Pledge's Connect platform, and then also within our Salesforce app, Click and Pay Suite, you can now enter suggestions and also view other people's suggestions as well. So when you log in to Connect, you look for the little light bulb, you will see it. In Salesforce, again, you'll see a little light bulb where you can view those as well. And be sure to take a look at those and kind of read through what other people are suggesting and vote for the features you want added. We're keeping an eye on these, and we certainly do appreciate all of you all helping to make our software better for everyone. Okay, quantities. So quantities and the features that I'm going to be talking about now, these are all features that we've added to the payment forms that we have in our Connect platform. So we have it listed here as quantities, but there's actually 3 new features that we've added. We have added the ability to select more than one option with the donation form. We've added the quantity feature. And then the third thing is we have added a text area on the donation form. So let me show you what I am talking about. So these are some examples that one of my colleagues has created. She did this for a golf event. Again, golf events are very common. We hear a lot of people that have them. So we want to show you what this looks like. So typically, with the donation form, you have the option to select a donation amount and then process your transaction. So these are the same donation forms, but what we've allowed people to do is to select more than one option. So if somebody wanted to be a title sponsor for an event, they can also come to another area and say, okay, well, I also want to rent a caddy. I want to purchase some mulligans, things like that. So you can select multiple items. And as you can see here, there's also the quantity feature where people could select a quantity. This is another example of a form done for more of an event. She does a really nice job with designing them. But you also have the option. So previously, the header areas you had kind of a fixed amount of text you could put on there. There wasn't a whole lot of flexibility. Well, now within the header areas, they're now text boxes, text editors. So you can customize them the way that you wish. You can change the color, things like that. So again, adding a lot more flexibility to the donation form, along with, things like that, the quantity feature as well. Okay. Now, let's talk about some of the features that we have added to our Click and Pay suite, our app on Salesforce. The patron portal link. So when we released Click and Pay suite, we have a store event feature in there. And within that, it allows the donor to view their past history of transactions and their information with you. So what we heard from you was that you wanted a way to separate that ability to look at history, their contact information, the donor to be able to view that, but have it independent from the store. So what we did is we did make it independent, and now you can have it as a link. So this is just an example here that one of my colleagues has made. So if you want to have it on your website for people to be able to log in, view their history, it can also be used for managing recurring transactions as well. You can do that. Now the other features, let me go back here. Any of you all use the NPSP Nonprofit Success Pack? If you're interested, you can always raise your hand here so we can kind of see who is using that. But a couple of big features, and I see people are raising their hands, that's great. Big features of the NPSP that people were wanting to use along with our Click and Pledge software is the GAU and pledges as well. So we have added that. You're going to locate that when you log into our application on Salesforce. If you go to settings, go to the third party area, and then to the NPSP integration, you're going to find previously we had added the recurring option, but there's also now the pledge. You can set that up to work with NPSP pledges and then also with the GAU allocations as well. So lots of stuff that we have added in the past year. It's a lot of stuff for our training team to catch up on. And I'm very happy. Again, if you have any questions, you can put this into the Q&A area. But now I'm going to pass this off to Amber.
Hello, everybody. Can everyone hear me okay?
We sure can.
Awesome. I'm going to share my screen. And while I do this, I would love for each of you to be thinking about your love of or anxiety of using video to tell your stories and to fundraise. All right, so we've got this in presentation mode. Hopefully everyone can see this now. Actually, can you all see this? Can you verify?
Yeah, we could see it.
Okay. I can't see it on the screen, but I can see it on that screen. Fun. Okay, so I'm Amber Melanie Smith. I am, this is weird to say, but a social impact YouTuber. I'm also a nonprofit founder. I started a nonprofit when I was in college and grew the organization to have a wonderful team and then passed off the reins to our amazing program manager last year to become the executive director. And I, since then, have done lots of different things. A couple years ago, I started a YouTube channel with a goal of educating people on nonprofits, starting a nonprofit, fundraising, board management, basically everything that you can think of related to nonprofits. And the reason for that was throughout my journey, I just kept hearing questions from people I knew and also complete strangers about the process and the journey of growing an organization from scratch. So I thought, I'll make some videos and I'll educate people about those topics and share some of my lessons learned. So that is sort of the origin of my
YouTube channel, you'll also see a very cute picture of my dog here. Her name is Kira. And if we have any nerds in the house, yes, she is named after the Star Trek character. So that's my dog. Going back, what I really learned from starting my journey on YouTube was lots of different things. Some of the comments and the questions I get on my channel regularly really underscore how mysterious the nonprofit world can be, especially for those who are not already in it. But I really learned that there's an appetite for this, and I learned that there's an appetite to be speaking about these topics in plain language. But one of the most surprising things about my video journey, I would say, is that it allowed me the opportunity to connect with people around the country and around the world that I did not know before. And it really showed me how powerful a tool video can be in connecting with your audience, and especially in growing those three factors that can really contribute to the success of your fundraising, which is know, like, trust, right? Know, people have to know who you are in order to even donate to you at all. They've got to like you. When was the last time you donated to an organization or a person you didn't like? And they've got to trust you. We know that that's so important in fundraising across the board. So my goal here is to just give a couple of really quick digestible tips about how to use video for your advantage and tie it into one of the amazing features that Rachel probably knows that is my favorite feature of Click and Pledge, because I talk about it all the time. And that's the video fundraising tool. So while I'm going through these, I'd love for you to drop in the Q&A some of your questions about using video, and we'll get to those at the end. And also let me know, or raise your hand, I saw you use that feature before, if you've used the video fundraising feature. And if you have any questions about it, the Click and Pledge team can help answer too while we're here. Okay, so why video? Video, like I said, it really taps into that know, like, and trust factor when it comes to fundraising. When people can see what things are like behind the scenes, they see real human faces, it really makes the cause feel more tangible. I thought this statistic was pretty insane, but I definitely believe it. Over half of people who watch nonprofit videos are inspired to donate. It maybe not in that exact second, but it has contributed to their donation vision. And the reasons for that are what I've said already. It makes your efforts feel real. It also shows your brand personality. You know, some voices on social media for nonprofits are serious, and some are funny, and some are really passionate. And it shows the personality of your organization. And of course, it amplifies powerful stories, which we know is so important for fundraising. So how do we do it? The first tip is that we want to be sure to create authentic stories. And these are stories that create real and emotional connections between your followers and your team and your organization and your mission. You want to be sure to introduce real people, real situations. The behind the scenes type of video is a great example of this, because people don't know what your work looks like on the ground. You can't assume they know all of the nuances and the complexities about your important work that you know. So you have to show them what it actually looks like. And I would say for this, there's sometimes anxiety around having to have expensive camera equipment or really overproduce or over edit these videos. But people these days are just craving authenticity. So don't worry about that. If you've got a budget to create something really nice, awesome. But you can also just go out there with your phone and capture some of these stories too. So that's tip number one. Tip number two is to try out lots of different formats and platforms, right? So we talked about social media. Email campaigns are really interesting because when there's a video in your email campaign, it can actually increase your click rates, your engagement in your email campaigns quite significantly. There was this one study I saw, I think it was from Biteable. They were saying that if you have video embedded in your email, it could increase click rates by 300%. So something to consider there. And of course, website. You want video on your website. You want people to be able to see and hear the story, or read about your story. right there firsthand, helping them feel like they're part of your journey. And, that's where this one tool from Click and Pledge that I've been obsessing over comes into play. Because one thing that they have done that I haven't seen anyone else really do is you have the ability to embed a donation link right in your video. Like you're watching the video and the donation link is right there. And if someone clicks on that donation link and makes a donation, you can actually detect the timestamp. And this is some kind of tech magic. So Rachel or someone else on the team, if you ever want to explain how exactly this works, let me know. You can detect the timestamp that someone has made the donation. So if you were to get a bunch of donations and they're all at this like 1 minute mark, go back and watch what is happening at 1 minute, because that is resonating with people. And that gives you some really interesting data. I'm curious, by show of hands, has anyone used this video fundraising tool before? If you want to use the raise hand feature. And if not, go give it a try today, because this is actually really super cool. Very underestimated, I think, the power of this. Okay, so next tip here is you want to be sure to incorporate a clear call to action. And this goes for all fundraising, but especially in video. How terrible would it be if you created this beautiful video and then you forgot to tell the audience or the viewer what you're hoping they'll do next? Is it volunteer? Is it donate? Is it share with their friends? Is it go to this webpage and do something? You always want to make sure you incorporate that, because it is a missed opportunity if you don't. Moving on to tip number 4. Again, another rule of thumb for all fundraising, but especially in video, is to show your impacts. And data is great. Infographics are great in video, but we're also talking about the storytelling impacts, the anecdotal impacts, the impacts on the lives. In fundraising, we really want to think about and focus on this idea of the gap. And the gap is where you are now and where you want to be as an organization. And in the middle is this hole where the funding is needed to get you from here to here. That's the gap. So how can you use that concept through video to convey that with the power of donations and support from your community, you can move from here to here? Well, one way is to show how you've been able to do that in the past through this impact storytelling. You talk about this, I guess in this example, very adorable dog who used to be over here and his life was sad and lonely. And now it's wonderful because of your amazing organization and its efforts. So talk about that transformation, right? And the final tip before we get into any questions is think about what length is appropriate for your goals. This is a question I get a lot. And the answer is, it really depends on what your objective is with a video. If your goal is to inspire quick action, like go sign up for this event or sign a petition or do this or that, 1 minute might be enough. You just want to get your point across really quickly. But if you want to tell a story like the story of the adorable dog that we just talked about, a couple of minutes might be the right length of time for that. And then I don't want to underestimate the power of this third kind of video. And I know for me personally, this kind of video is my sweet spot. It's what I focus on most, is educational videos. And these are like 10 to 15 minutes in length. This is a great format, for example, if you're using YouTube. And for nonprofits who really are dealing with an issue that might be complex or misunderstood by the public, breaking down different components of your issue area in these educational videos can go a long way in helping people understand your mission and then hopefully become donors. You don't donate to something you don't understand. So these educational videos can really help you build that thought leadership and that trust with your audience as well. Okay, hopefully I got it down in my 10 minutes or less, but if there are any questions for me about video, let's see, we have a couple things in here. Okay, who should we have? And by the way, Rachel, stop me if I'm going over my time. Who should we have on the video? Would it be the recipients of our donations, the donors themselves? I mean, all of the above, with the disclaimer that obviously if you're an organization serving a vulnerable population, you do have to take great care with, the idea of showing your clients on video, consent from them, full participation. Like, obviously you have to have that all of the time when you're doing that. But if you can't do that, there's also other ways to represent the stories. You could have an actor, I guess, and say, this is an actor, but it represents the real life experience of our client. So there's lots of ways to do that. Kimber. Rachel, I think that one might be for you all. I don't think that one's about video.
Correct. And
Okay.
Kate's answering that right now.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate everyone's time today, and I hope that this was valuable and helpful in getting you to think about how you could use video. I'll be around.
Thank you so much, Amber. Joanne, you ready?
I'm ready. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. So I am Joanne Toller. I am a nonprofit coach and educator, and I'm got basically 10 minutes to cram an hour-long presentation in. So I'm not going to talk a lot about me, but I did leave all of my slides as is. So I'm not sure if we're sending out slides, so feel free to send those out. They've got a lot of tips in them. But what I want to talk about today is what I see that's working in digital fundraising. And well, I guess I am going to talk about me. So I've been doing this 30 years. And so I saw the birth of the internet when it became possible in email. And then back in 2000, when e-commerce really took off, and then social media, when that came on the scene. And then we had all of these platforms coming out in terms of peer-to-peer fundraising and online auctions. And now here we are with AI. So stats, we have to have stats in our presentations, but the point of this is that we all know donors are online. It's not just younger donors, older donors are online nowadays. And the nonprofits that I see that are most successful with their digital fundraising are those nonprofits that have a plan for digital fundraising. So I like to use the example of having your fundraising plan. You build a fundraising plan because you need to have these annual events to help bring in new donors and re-engage donors. And how are you going to move them up your pipeline? How are you going to make sure they renew? How are you going to upgrade them? How are you going to get them up to that point of making a planned gift? Well, we have a pipeline in digital fundraising. And these are all of most of the key components for digital fundraising. So I said, I want to go through and kind of talk about what's changing. And obviously the first one being AI. And if I'm going to build a digital fundraising strategy for you, the first thing I'm going to do is pull out some AI and I'm going to do some data analysis. I'm going to create some donor personas. I can use it to help me write some of the content that I need. I can it'll help automate things. And I could probably go on a whole rant about data protection, privacy, ethics, but I think we all know how important it is to keep donor privacy in mind. This is the power of artificial intelligence, is it really sets us up for success. So think of it as our assistant. It's where we get our smart insights from. And then we have our website. So our website is the hub of everything. And some of the big changes that I've been seeing in terms of websites for nonprofits is, it used to be search engine optimization that I would talk about all the time, how people are searching for organizations like us. Now, Google has moved towards this new model for their algorithm, which is EEAT. And I love it because this is what we should be doing with our websites anyway. The first E stands for experience. We want to be providing an experience for our website viewers. When they come to our site, that first image or video that they see, that headline, that's going to draw them in. And as they're scrolling down, we're naturally going to answer the questions that are popping up or provide the resources they're looking for. But making sure there's a clear pathway in our website so that we are providing an experience for our viewers. And the other E is for what is it? Expertise. So this is what Amber was saying about thought leadership is we want to be able to showcase our expertise in the field. Do we have amazing blogs and resources and videos? So amazing that other websites are pointing to our website for the A, which is authority. You know, do we have that? Are we positioned as the experts so much so that we have authority now in our sector? And then the last one being trustworthiness. And I'm seeing a big trend nowadays with trust signals on websites. If you've got accreditation, if you've got, you know, amazing Google reviews and testimonials, or you're putting those right on your website. So those are just some of the big changes that I'm seeing. And then with landing pages, I like to do a landing page for all of the campaigns that I have. And here's an example. If I see something on social media, your campaign, and I click on the link and I'm taken to just the donation form, I'll probably donate. But if I'm taken to a page with the donation form that makes me really glad I clicked, you know, it's inspirational and I'm seeing the impact, I'm probably going to donate more. So landing pages and their popularity, I've been seeing a lot of that. And in terms of the actual forms, definitely that easy one-click pay, flexible payment options, those pre-filled donation amounts. That's why the IntelliBoost, I love, that's my feature that I obsess over. And then with email, value-driven email. So going back to, you know, ChatGPT or AI and really doing that persona work, I want to know who my audience is that are signing up for my email so that I can create messages for them. And you've probably heard about segmentation. It's been around for quite a while, but using that example again of, so I've seen your post or seen your campaign on social media. I go over, I click on it. And once I've donated, I don't want to just be taken to a regular thank you page or really nothing happens. I want to be taken to a page that thanks me and then says, hey, do you want to keep apprised of the impact of your donation? Like, let's stay informed about what your donation is doing and then sign up for that email. So I sign up for the email. And then maybe a month later, I get a really cool email about some stats. Like, did you know X, Y, and Z about this cause? And then the month after that, I get a really great story. And then the month after that, I get an impact report. So that you're segmenting me as a donor and providing emails for me that are of interest and of value to me. Or if I'm a volunteer, I'm set out on a different journey for that category. Those are the real biggies I'm seeing with email and spam filters, but we won't get into that. No time. And then social media, one of the big changes that I've been seeing is SEO and hashtag strategies for our posts. People are using social media as search engines nowadays. You know, if I'm diagnosed with, let's say, heart disease, well, I'm going to start following heart healthy tips in my Instagram. So I'm going to be searching for them. So hashtags are no longer these cutesy branded hashtags. They're part of an SEO strategy. And then I'm going to say this because I always feel like I need to say this, and that is social media is social. So where our website is this hub that we have for all of our activities, and that's our hub. And email is more like a direct connection that we have to our donors. Our social media is our community. It's like our billboard. It's the rallying point for everything. So just making sure that we are engaging and really working to build that community. I'm also seeing video clearly is taking off not just on websites and not just in email, but on social media. That short form video content is where it is at these days. And then online ads, I'm brutally honest, Facebook donate ads are not performing nearly as well as they used to a few years ago. I've seen a big decline in this area. And then online campaigns. So you've got your hub, you've got your website, you've got a great email list that's nice and clean and highly engaged, and you've got social media following that this huge community. Well, now we have these active supporters who are rallying around us. And that's when we can really get into some of these cool campaigns. I'm still seeing text to give working very well, hybrid events working very well, peer-to-peer working well. I'm so excited about Give Event. That's a feature that I did a whole video on that. And we talk about bringing corporate partners in as part of that. So with online campaigns, the biggest trend that I'm seeing is all of the opportunities, but really having a solid plan for all of the other digital components that you have so that everything is integrated together and it just sets you up for complete success. I mean, I have one last slide here that kind of throws it together, and that, if we're building a campaign, I'm going to use the AI to do the data and help build my assets. And I'm going to make sure that the landing page is on point with my donation forms and get the emails pointing back to the landing pages and out to the social media. I mean, it looks messy. The point is everything is integrated, everything works together, and there's a plan for everything. So do we have time for questions?
Yeah, we do. And you can just put that in the Q&A area, and we'll wait a little bit just so we can get those to come in. We've answered a few in the back end, but if you guys have any more, just start putting it in there. And
oh, there we go. I can see that now.
Can you see it? Yes, it doesn't look like any questions are coming in just yet. So again, feel free to put your questions in there. And I do want to circle back to Gavent because I was trying to get that launched, and apparently I wasn't set up as host. So that was the issue that I was having before. So my colleague, Kate, I think she is currently set up as host. So Kate, do you think that you're going to be able to launch it? And Kate, if you're speaking, I can't hear you.
You might be happy not hearing me. I'm still having trouble.
Okay.
It says the host will begin broadcasting.
Okay.
Let me refresh the app. Let me see.
Oh, and I did want to mention, Kate mentioned to me that somebody had asked if we were recording this. Yes, we are. There will be a recording that is sent to everyone tomorrow. There will be a link in the notification from Zoom, so you'll have the link to the recording. And it looks like we do have a question coming in, but that is not necessarily, that's more about our features. And then I see
and clearly I did a great job explaining digital fundraising.
That's exactly right.
In 10 minutes. Yeah.
That is exactly right. And then a nice little comment that there were great presentations. So, and Celeste, it looks like, so Celeste's question is, with all these cool new features, are we able to receive or have an option for corporate donor or donation through Click and Pledge where their auto-generated tax receipt goes to the organization and not the individual? So primarily, when donations come in, they're attached to an individual. The individual makes the credit card transaction or what have you. I know we've done some discussion about that. Maybe we can talk through that a little bit more about some of your ideas, Celeste, on that. Okay. We have a question, a comment about the data. And how do you foresee all the data coming together? So Joanne, I think that's a question for you.
So let's do the data separately. So I was just doing this weekend where I took analytics from a website. So I wanted to see what my click rate was, my bounce rate, all of that, and then just used ChatGPT to brainstorm on it. Like, where do we think the bottlenecks are and how can we optimize this? Same with social media. I will dump all of my analytics into something like a ChatGPT and look at it, go through it, ask it questions, ask it to help me pull out the data. I did it with my YouTube channel recently. It was great. It told me which videos to make more of as we took impressions versus click-through rates versus likes. And it just takes all of this data that I befuddled when I look at and makes I can ask it questions based on that data. Granted, it is not always perfect, but it is a great starting point.
Hopefully that helps. What are we without our data? Okay, here's another question from Miranda. How are you navigating the unreliability of ChatGPT and other ethical concerns about using AI?
I have a private GPT. I have a couple of different models that I use on a computer that never even touches the internet when I have to do any kind of analytics for clients. You can also pull out any sensitive information, names, addresses, but I prefer using a private model, Olama. I've got Minstrel. I've got a few different versions, like I say, on that laptop. I also have done videos on creating your AI policy and ethics around AI, and I even have a template if people want to copy and paste, but read it. It's important. Like, we want to incorporate these things into our activities.
Very good. And we have just one comment that says follow the data. And Miranda says thank you. Okay, here's another question, another data question, where extraction can be the click rates and timestamps on when people click to give. Oh, okay. So this actually goes back to the video fundraising discussion. And so where exactly within, so video fundraising, that is Click and Pledge product, Pledge TV, we can add videos. And yes, so the question is, where can you see the click rates and the timestamps when people click to give while watching the video be found? Well, it actually can be found when you have your video. It will, when donations are made, there will be a little marker for when that particular donation happens. So again, it does give you that ability to sort of track, you can go back to the video and go, well, what happened during that session that made this person act? So it is right within the click and the Pledge TV feature within Connect. You can see that. So I figured I'd go ahead and answer that one. Okay. Oh, and there's a follow-up question that the AI ethics and policy template would be great to see.
I will. Can I throw that in the chat?
You should be able to throw that in the chat.
Okay, I'll grab that and throw it in the chat.
If you have any problems, one of our team should be able to do that.
And Susan, I am now able to share an event.
Oh, great.
So as we discussed, I don't know if you were following the discussion, but a event needs to be launched by the host. So when you set up an event on the back end, a person is identified as the host for the meeting, and they have the ability to post what we call a event token, which I'm going to do right now. And once that token is created, it works for any Zoom account in that organization. So it doesn't attach to an email, it attaches to an organization. So if you have General Electric supporting you, anybody with a General Electric Zoom account would be able to use the same token. And I just launched it. Those of you who are seeing this webinar on the Zoom app should have a little launch button. And Rachel, maybe we can go back to that slide with the credit card information.
Yeah,
And
so
I have that. Let me share that.
Okay. So the donation form has now popped up, and you can make a test donation, and you'll see that we have both one-time and monthly set up. We have different dollar amounts, and you can just enter the amount that you want and the credit card number.
It's a 4 and 15 ones. Obviously, the expiration date is any date in the future. We're using our test credit card number, and then just put in any 3-digit number for the CVV code. Just 123 will work, etc.
And then you click submit your donation. And I'm now going to turn my camera on. And after you submit your donation, it will say view stream, and you want to click on that. And then you can begin to see in the event form itself, you can see all the people who have donated and how much they donated. Additionally, at the bottom of that, it says show virtual stream in the blue button. And anyone who has their camera on and has clicked that, you can see the donations scrolling across the bottom of the screen. So Susan, if you stop sharing now, and my full screen comes, I think you can see how the donations are scrolling across my screen, and people can get very excited about this. I can see a lot of donations are flowing in now, so everyone is seeing how it works. And you'll notice that next to the individual donations, there is a boost button in orange with a little arrow that points up. And what this does, remember we talked about IntelliBooster. So if you connect IntelliBooster to the campaign where your event money is going, this little boost button is going to show. So you can look at this and you can say, oh, Sherry donated $250. I'm gonna show that Sherry. I'm just gonna get her. And you can click on boost. And now when the donation button opens up, the first button I see is $400. So I am going to boost Sherry quite a bit here. There's always the other amount. So if you've got too aggressive a boost scale associated with your campaign, and remember there are three boost scales that you can choose from: conservative, moderate, or aggressive, and that will dictate, using AI, the dollar amounts on the buttons that you see. So I'll just process that little donation and show that Sherry.
It does bring out the competitive nature in all of us.
And I think most of us have been to events where there's a skilled MC that's handling like a paddle raise or something. And if you get into it and have some enthusiasm for what you're doing and get people going with it, it can be very, very effective. I was in an event one time and somebody donated using someone else in the room's name, and he kept donating $1. And then he'd say, oh, look at what a cheapskate he is.
And that's one of the reasons I like peer-to-peer fundraising as well. There's kind of a friendly competition about it that, creates a little bit of rivalry. If you're trying to compete against, who can give the better donation.
Well, we've raised $35,000 just like that. So good on us.
That was easy, right?
Can I borrow that credit card number for Amazon though?
Sadly, we have tried this in real accounts and it gets declined.
So I also want to mention that, Joanne, I saw that you had put your link in there. So I did share it with everybody. So that's in the chat. There were a number of people that said they appreciate that. And, so thank you very much for that. Let's see. And then we have a question. from what is the 1334 fee at the bottom for? Does that charge based on donation amount? Good question. So that's a feature, again, came from our customers where what you can do with your donations is add an additional fee. And a lot of people will do that to kind of help with overhead or other types of fees within your organization. So you can set that up in a lot of different ways. So it's in this system we set up as optional. So you can, pay the additional fee or not. But you can also set it up where that additional fee is always charged. You can have it opt in or opted out as well. So again, if you haven't looked into that feature and you're interested in that, that's a part of the campaign details. Okay, and Amber, I see that you have something to share too, so I'm going to share that to everyone as well. And this is, so if you look in the chat area, everyone, you will see that that is Amber's playlist. So you have all the resources available. And yes, that's exactly, some organizations, again, going back to that additional fee question that you had earlier, yes, that can help to offset your credit card fees. And really, it's very flexible. You can set it up exactly how you want. So we see some organizations that might, a lot of people will strictly use that to kind of cover their credit card processing fees, but some organizations might make it a little higher, a little bit lower. And it's flexible how you describe it on your donation forms as well. So it really is up to you how you wish to use it. So there is a question, does this attach to campaigns and does it show in Connect? Oh, and I'm guessing this is a discussion on the feature that Kate was just showing, Event. Yes, so this is all connected with your campaigns. Donations also flow into Salesforce as well.
Yeah, and just to clarify, this event and everything that you do in Click and Pledge starts by being connected to a campaign. And once that campaign is created and the donation forms, the events, the peer-to-peer, everything that you're doing posts in Connect, and then it all flows into Salesforce in real time, where it can all be mapped and sent out into your opportunities and your contacts.
Susan, are we getting any more questions?
I don't see any more questions coming in.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. We really do appreciate it. Look out for an email from either me or Amazon with your little gift. And looks like we just got one in.
Yeah, one more question. The GAU feature mentioned at the beginning that has been added where the donor can allocate where it goes. Does it connect to the GAU in box in Salesforce? So yes, that new feature, if you're using, so again, this is going to be a conversation for those Salesforce users out there that are using the NPSP. Well, we actually have two different options for you. If you're using the NPSP, Nonprofit Success Pack, you now have the option to connect like a designation to your GAU. So yes, so that is how you're going to use it. For those of you that are not using the NPSP, we also have, and what is that called? I'm blanking on. I should know it. we have another feature in Salesforce, the general ledger. Thank you. The general ledger is also available as well. So again, if you're trying to pull reports for your accounting team, you want to make sure that all the designations are classified the way that you want. You do also have that as an option as well. So you have for both the NPSP users and the non-NPSP users, you have options there. So hopefully that answers your question. And again, if you have any more questions about these features, if you go to our website and go to support, we have ticket support. We have live support daily, 3 p.m. So it's going to be starting here shortly. It's a great resource. Our team that attends that live support, especially for some of you that are using Salesforce, they're experienced with that, so they can help you with that as well. We have another question that just came in. Can donors using Pay Quickly be allowed to choose a GAU on the form so it becomes more multi-purpose? I know we want to keep it simple, but I'm thinking maybe just a quick Dropbox with a default. So there may be some options to do that. We can kind of talk that through. But one of the things that you can do, and this is something that we've talked about with some of our organizations that may have different designations or different service areas, one thing with Pay Quickly, you can have one Pay Quickly form per page on your website. So if you have different pages on your website with those different service areas that you provide that are your different designations, you could have use that Pay Quickly, but then have it connected to a different campaign. So there may be some ways that you can set up those designations throughout your website so that you're making sure that you're, getting the funds to the right area. So always happy to talk that through. There may be some other ways that we can do that as well. And we're getting some thanks to our team here today. It looks like, at least for right now, the questions have ended. Some more thanks. Thank you so much, Eve. Okay. Well, it looks like the questions have ended. So I think we might be at a good point to go ahead and close this down.
Thank you so much, you guys. We really appreciated you coming, and hopefully that you join us again. We have a webinar with Amber and Joanne in 2 weeks, and we'll be sending out a little invite to that as well. So look out for that, and cheers. Hope you guys have a good one. Bye.